Welcome back, young scholars. In this video, we are marking a transition in history from the age of discovery to the age of European colonialism. Now here you will see a map of the Americas as it was divided up and colonized by European countries in the 16th, 17th, and 18th centuries. Before we dive too deep into the colonial era, I want to first answer what may seem like a pretty simple question. And that is, what is a colony? Now, the second big question you hopefully can answer after watching this video is, what patterns do colonies generally follow from their start to their end? Now, let's start with that first big question. What is a colony? I define a colony as a place under the control of a more powerful, distant mother country and permanently occupied by settlers from that mother country. Now, there are three parts to this definition, and each of these parts must be true for a colony to exist. Now, let's look at a few examples. In the next couple of videos, we are going to be studying colonies established in the Americas by European countries like Spain, Portugal, France, Britain, the Netherlands, and Sweden. And if we apply the test, the first question we have to ask is, are these places? And yes, these are all places in the Americas. And second, were these places under the control of a more powerful, distant mother country? And as we study, you should come to understand that the colonies were all under the political and economic control of rulers from their European mother countries. And finally, these places were all permanently settled and occupied by colonists from their mother country. So that condition is also satisfied. Now let's look at another example. This one a little bit more recent. When the United States landed on the moon and planted its flag, did the moon become a colony of the United States? Well, first we need to ask, is the moon a place? And yes, of course, the moon is a place. Well, was the moon under the control of a more powerful, distant mother country? Well, at the time, the United States was the only country with the technology to reach the moon, so I would argue yes, it was. Was the moon permanently occupied by settlers from the United States? Well, no, and here's the rub. The astronauts obviously returned back to Earth after they planted the flag. But how could we turn the moon into a colony? Well, the United States or another country would have to build a permanent space station on the moon, and the laws of that space station would have to be controlled by the United States government back on Earth. So will we ever experience another colonial period, maybe in our lifetime, with the establishment of colonies on places like the moon or Mars? Well, it's possible. And it's just another example of how history is worth studying because it can potentially repeat itself. Now, colonies generally follow an evolutionary pattern from their start to finish, and I call this process the life of a colony. Now, step one begins with what I call planting the seed. In this step, a powerful mother country explores and claims control over a distant area. Usually, the explorers from the mother country plant a flag to symbolize their claimed authority or control over this new area. In step two, the colony is born. This occurs when people from the mother country, known as colonists, travel to and settle in the colony. They initially bring with them the customs and cultural practices of their mother country. In other words, the colonists try to recreate the conditions of their mother country in their new environment. Now, here we see a mother country nursing its young baby colony. Now, it's not surprising that the names of European colonies in the New World reflected this tradition of the colonists trying to recreate the conditions of the mother country in their new environment. These colonies were called such original names as New Spain, New France, New England, New Netherlands, and New Sweden. And so these are all examples of this second step, the birth of colonies in the New World, that reflected the customs and cultural practices of the mother countries of these colonies. The step 3 in the life of a colony is similar to teenage adolescence. Gradually, the customs and cultural practices of the colonists bring with them to the colony begin to evolve and change. The colony may start to listen to rock music, and it may grow a mohawk or get a nose ring or maybe a tattoo. Now, in the Americas, this evolution happened gradually as European colonists adapted to the demands of the New World. In some cases, the customs of the European colonists blended with the practices of the native peoples who were originally living there to form a new and distinct culture. But the end result in this third step is the beginning of separation between the colony and the mother country. Now, the final stage, step 4, results in that final separation. In this step, the colonists stage a revolution against the mother country. Usually this is motivated by a desire for greater autonomy or self-control. The American, Mexican, and Haitian wars for independence are all examples of this final step, which brought an end to the life of the certain colonies in the New World. Now that you have watched this video, hopefully you can answer the 2 big questions. What is a colony? And what patterns do colonies generally follow from their beginning to their end? As always, thanks for watching.